The model estimation. This is something that is kind of rough, but at the same time is understandable since it's one of my first projects. This research project show what it happened through with the time preferences on hours work. First of all, first we run the RDD for extreme poverty by income and just poverty by income. So in the left-hand side, you can check first the first graph is 2012 against 2014, and we compare them, and we see barely no changes through time. But if we go to the annex, and I will show you that at the end, you will see that despite you cannot see that many or that significant of a change within these regressions, you do see the results coming back through the significance of the estimators. The same was done for hours of studying, in which we actually see a bigger jump within the observations, but this could be done because of the polynomial that I used. The polynomial that I used, it was second-degree polynomial for this for all the RDDs, and I use them because they provide me with the most efficiency for the estimators. Yet, only two or three of them are actually significant, as I will show you at the end. And finally, I did it for the hours on personal activities, in which we can again see a big jump as income changes through the threshold. The preferences actually have a dramatic change. My conclusions from this work is: one, time preferences do change through time, and that may be one of the reasons why my estimates from 2012 stopped being significant in 2014, as well as that making your own research paper is not that easy as it seems, and that even though I would like to say right now that is confounded information, time preferences, we don't have enough information for time preferences to actually accrue the issue of poverty to that. I think that it would be nice to have that test, but it's still not enough information, or it's not perfect information to run the perfect type of regression and discover if providing air to people is changing good enough, or at least well enough, their preferences to make them change from one point to another. So just going real quick to my annex. Here, for example, I wanted to show you one of the few regressions that actually had a significant estimator. Here you can see the hours worked. And from here, I'm gonna provide you some of my interpretations for my estimates. The first three annexes that I just passed by are regressions for 2012 for extreme poverty by income individuals. All of those regressions were non-significant. In this case, for poverty in 2012 for hours worked, I found out that if you increase your income by, let's say, 100 pesos daily, you will reduce, or 10 pesos daily, you will reduce your hours worked by 4 hours. This is something that is quite interesting, and that is telling you much about the uncovered preferences about time, and that is something that we would like to explain more, or that I would like to explain more, but time is running up, so I cannot do this fully. And beyond that, I can show you that some tests that I would like you to see if you want to read my paper is that there are tests for randomization to make sure that the variables are good enough, and that at the same time observations seem to hold lightly, and that this study is not just like whatever, but at the same time, what I can tell you is that despite I did not run placebo tests, I run a lot of different types of regression to make myself sure that the variation was actually accrued to this regression that I mentioned before. One of them was just testing what was well-treated individuals for welfare against non-treated individuals for welfare. Some of these type of testing was not able to come up with a positive result because of the lack of variation, because of the mass points that I observed in my data. And what I did again is I tried running, obviously, at the very beginning, many OLS regressions just to see if the relation that I was drawing with my RDD was significant enough and it was following the actual way that the data behaves like. So I was not using a polynomial number 2 just because. Finally, since I already showed you this this estimation for my RDD for poverty with, sorry, this one, with hours worked, I wanted to show you what happened in 2014. It's curious to see that not only, as you may have seen in the graphs, they behave the same, but they also behave the same here in the actual regression. Because in this case, the hours worked seem to have almost the same effect, not only in 2012, but also in 2014. So what I wanted to point out is that maybe they are the same individuals than before, and that's why they have the same preferences. I mean, at the end of the day, they are only 2 years. But the problem is that this program has been held by more than 20 years. And something that I would like to go beyond on this research is to go as many years back as possible and check what happened to the guys that were before, because they may be explaining why this type of results or outcomes are happening. Where I'm telling you, you're just going out of poverty and you're already willing to work 4 hours less if you earn just 10 pesos more. 10 pesos more will be like for you like $50 of a cent. So if you have 15 cents more, you are willing to work 4 hours less. That's something that actually tells you much more about the behavior of people that is going out of poverty. And therefore, despite I don't believe it is good enough information to back my hypothesis that people is staying in poverty because of their time preferences, it shows you how easy for them is to say, I'm going to stop working and I'm going to stay there. So they're just going to stay just above poverty or just in poverty just because they are receiving some type of aid. I know that I'm saying a lot of things, but this is something that it really gets me going because it's something that is from my country. This is something that is hard to tackle down and it's hard to analyze. I did 12 RDDs that I'm presenting to you 12 RDDs and I did plenty more. So I know that you did something kind of like the same. And just to summarize, my project tried to tackle down the issue of preferences on poverty. What I found out just for a couple of years, it was that in the years that I had significant estimators, they seem to be kind of like the same. Therefore, I don't give all the variation to that point estimate. At the end of the day, it's just a local average treatment effect. And I cannot apply that to all the people living in poverty, just to the ones going through the threshold. So I wanted to thank you all for your attention, and I hope you liked it.